Hi, my name is Jeff Rabin. I'm here with the rest of my group from EDM310. Melissa Renner-Belke, Dina Nunn, and Cassandra Rudolph. And we're going to discuss Rafe Esquith's book, Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire. Dina will start things off with a little highlight of the prologue.
Okay, the purpose of the video today is to share with you the thoughts and teaching methods of author Rafe Esquith. He has written the book, Teach Like Your Hair is on Fire, and we're going to briefly discuss chapters 1 and 2 and give a thorough overview of chapter 7. In the prologue, he introduces to us the purpose behind this book. Rafe Esquith is a 5th grade teacher at Hobart Elementary School in Los Angeles, California. He calls his students Hobart Shakespeareans. I'm really not sure why. The students come to class from 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon, and they're not required to do this, but it's by their choice that they get to stay after school. And they also go to school year-round. There are some things that he wants us to understand about him. He makes it perfectly clear that he is not Superman. He goes on to say that he has learned many things through the years, and his intention of his book is to share ideas that he has found useful. He states that being a teacher is painful. What do you think he means by this?
Just sacrifice, I guess, because I don't know what people think, but teaching is not 7 to 3. You can put in lots and lots of hours besides that, preparing your lesson plans, grading tests, maybe spending extra time after school with kids. There's lots of things involved that will not end at 3 o'clock. So, that's one painful thing, is sacrificing all the time.
I think also he may be speaking of watching the children struggle with learning, the ones that are slower, the ones that don't have as much involvement with parents at home, and knowing that he's going to be the influence in their life can sometimes make it painful.
That's good. And he also says that our culture is a disaster, and that racism, poverty, and ignorance often reign supreme on the campus. Have any of you experienced this in our schools?
I know there's a lot of kids in Mobile County and probably nationwide that are, poverty line or borderline. Where I taught, they almost, we had, I think, 98% of the kids got free lunches because they don't make any money.
Title I schools.
That's an issue.
Yeah. Well, he says in room 56, he says it's a world where character matters, hard work is respected, humility is valued, and support for one another is unconditional. Esquith was to the point of giving up teaching until one pivotal moment. It was during a science experiment with a little girl who had faulty equipment. He was at his lowest point in his career when he felt the need to help her. His hair caught on fire while he was helping her light her wick. The students were scared to death, and they all helped him, and he knew at that moment that he had done everything he needed to do to help someone. It was then that he knew that he would continue teaching and teach like his hair was on fire. A profound statement that he made was that, quote, true excellence takes sacrifice, mistakes, and enormous amounts of effort. After all, there are no shortcuts. Now, Jeff, will you give us an overview of chapter 1?
Okay, briefly, chapter 1, Mr. Esquith believes that most teachers today, and I agree with him, most teachers today, the classroom is based on fear. Fear of something, fear of getting sent to the principal, fear of calling their parents, fear of detention, some sort of fear, runs the classroom. And he is a strong believer that the classroom should be based on mutual trust and between the teachers and students. And he thinks that students need to view teachers as dependable and fair.
Chapter 2?
Yes, well, in chapter 2, the author talks about how he took his first step with his classroom, with creating a classroom based on trust and not fear. He developed his classroom off the 6 More Development by Lawrence Colbert, and he taught these levels the first day of school every year. And the first level goes on to talk about how kids do not want to get in trouble. They always carry a sense of fear if they do the wrong thing. And the teacher wants them to do the right thing, not out of fear of punishment, but because it's the right thing to do. And the second level talks about wanting a reward. Kids are tricked into receiving rewards if they obey and do their assignments or things they should want to do. An example is if they do all their assignments for the entire week, they will get a prize, really. But doing this, the students are really missing the understanding of their assignments. Their main focus is, I will receive a prize at the end of the week. And the third level goes on to talk about wanting to please everybody. Students do things such as helping a teacher, go the extra mile just to please the teacher, and instead of just doing stuff out of their own will. The fourth rule is following rules. This is a factor of discipline. The author goes to an example of how a teacher he met had a way of making his students say thank you. Whenever they received a gift or anything, they had 3 seconds to acknowledge the teacher by saying thank you. If not, their gift was taken away. And this teaches the kids not really just to say thank you, but to try to appreciate things, and that's the point that was missed. Many of the students did not really appreciate their gifts they received. It was just planted in them to say thank you when they received a gift. I am a considerate of other people. That's the 5th rule. The author stated his students were always level 5 thinker students. Students would think about others' feelings before they thought about their own feelings. And the 6th one is have a personal code of behavior. It comes from the inside. That's it.
Okay, Melissa, will you go over chapter 7 for us, please?
Chapter 7, What a Wonderful World. Rafe begins by stating that students of today do not know much about history because more emphasis is being put on reading and math. That is also true here in Mobile County. Do y'all agree with this?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Working in the school system, I think we would all agree. Rafe also states that many students today don't know why we celebrate some of these holidays that we do. At his school, the faculty voted to cancel Martin Luther King Jr. holiday activities because they took up too much time. They wanted it to be part of a multicultural day at the end of the year. He also talks about Labor Day, and we were sitting here earlier talking about Labor Day. Why do we really have Labor Day as adults? We just go to, woohoo, we have a day off. But this is something that we should be teaching our children, not ignoring these holidays. Even though they seem small and minute, they're important to our children to learn the history. He also tries to convey to his students the importance of maps and knowing where countries are. At the end of the year, all of his students in room 56 can label at least 150 countries on a blank map of the world. They can also sequence events in history. Here are a few things he does in his classroom to help students master social studies. He takes advantage of the internet. His favorite map website is www.worldatlas.com. You can print many different maps from here that are labeled or simply numbered. They spend 10 to 15 minutes a day utilizing these tools on this site. They also study the planet. After they have learned the countries and how to spell them correctly, they play a game called Table Points. The kids sit on top of their desk in groups of 6 to 8. They can't have their maps in front of them, and they are given a chance to answer the question and earn points. Points are taken until they reach 20. They collect their prize and they start over. The team that lost continues on to 20 and they receive a prize as well. That way, no one team is against the other. He says this fosters teamwork, listening skills, and compromise. He helps them see our planet mentally rather than regurgitating countries on paper. Table points are tallied through the entire year. The game continues forever, just like history. He later challenges them by making the questions harder and giving them questions that are first-hand up questions. They are at risk to lose their points. This forces the students to think before they speak. Learning to think before they speak is a skill that serves students well in all areas of school and life. To go the extra mile, a feature that he uses in his classroom is something called coming attractions. He says good teachers and parents supplement history texts with additional materials. He does this by showing movies that pertain to the subject area. He suggests showing the films after school. This is easier for him because he does teach year-round. Unfortunately, many teachers show movies so they do not have to teach. Rafe states that the History Channel and A&E Biography series offer endless good documentaries. These documentaries can inspire and inform our students and provide them with positive role models. He also uses Google search to make copies of speeches for kids such as Martin Luther King Jr., and he also teaches them the difference in the Roosevelts.
And something else that's interesting we just learned in class an hour ago is now we can download presidential speeches and meetings that they're having. We can listen to them actually giving the speech. So that's probably a tool he'll end up using in his classroom. Instead of just printing it out, they'll be able to listen to it. So
And hear the passion and the voice of the speech giver.
Yeah.
He also uses recordings and literature to help teach history. He thinks that it is essential to teach his kids about Native Americans. A passion for history must be nurtured, and we must take responsibility for sparking that passion by recommending books that are engaging and informative. And we find that so true here in the state of Alabama. There's not a lot of focus on history, as we talked about earlier. All the teaching skills are focused on math and reading. And history is such a great thing that we don't need to ever forget.
Test scores. Gotta
Test
get those
scores,
test scores.
right. I think if we forget our history, how does that help us shape our future?
Right.
Great ideas for parents. He says that when we travel with our children, we should use a book called Passport to Your National Parks. He knows of no better aid. You can order the book by calling 877-NAT-PARK or visiting their website at www.eparks.com. This book helps teach students that history is alive and ongoing. Room 56, Favorite History Project. He believes that thousands of years from now, the U.S. will be saluted for three unique contributions: baseball, jazz, and our Constitution. His favorite project to do with his students is to create a replica of a famous piece of art consisting of license plates. When the plates are arranged alphabetically by state, they phonetically spell out the preamble. You can go to www.allposters.com to buy a poster of this. They work in small groups and use various materials such as construction paper. This helps them grasp a better understanding of some of the phrases in the preamble. He clearly loves his students, and he closes the chapter by stating, they are as ordinary as their teacher. They have become extraordinary by working hard and being exposed to activities that go beyond the norm. And that concludes our podcast for today. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
A lot of mine is going to have to be cut out.